Hey everybody, it's Moldylocks here. I just wanted to make this video because I've been dealing with some stuff with my personal computer and I thought maybe this would help. So this is kind of my approach to undervolting. It might be a little bit different than how other people have done it in the past. I don't know, I guess I haven't seen a ton of videos on this, but I just wanted to point out that this is how I fixed my problem for the specific problem that I was having. I know that people undervolt to get lower temps in their card, and you do lose some performance from doing that. But my problem was I was actually getting crashing issues. I was running Doom just fine, but then when I went to run a lower spec game such as Phasmophobia or Deep Rock Galactic, it was constantly freezing and crashing on me. Basically, anytime I tried to go through menus, Alt-Tab, or even sometimes just in-game, it would just crash. And so it took me a while to figure out how this was happening and what I could do to fix it, so I kind of wanted to take you on that journey with me. Just for some background info, I just put this computer together this last week, and I was really excited because it was my first time having like a really nice PC. 12900KF processor, 3080 Ti graphics card, and 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM running at 6000 megahertz. So this thing's kind of a beast, and that would make sense if you're gaming at 4K and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm not. I'm actually running at 1080p, 165 frames, and so I max out every game pretty easily. But I built this particular system not just for gaming, but also for work. I do professional CAD CAM work. I also do video editing, and so I wanted a rig that could really do those things quite well. And then I also play VR, and I wanted something that could really max out my VR setup. So when I built the computer, everything was working amazing on the work side. I beat every single benchmark out there. I have the best recorded time for our benchmarks. So I was on cloud 9. It was great. So then I went to the gaming side. Like I said, Doom ran well. The other games did not. And I just really was having a hard time figuring out why. I did a ton of research. I even spent an hour on NVIDIA tech support. And basically they told me that my card was defective. And it just didn't make sense to me because everything that was harder to run was actually running fine. It was just some of this other stuff that wasn't. And so I'm like, what is it that's missing here and how can I fix it? So after a bunch of research, this is what I came up with. I may not be the smartest person and I may not be the one who's always right about this kind of stuff, but this is what worked for me. So if you want a simple way to maybe help your system stability, you can try this out. You're going to need a few tools. The first thing you're going to need is a GPU benchmarking tool. I ran Heaven. There are other ones out there that you can run. I just like this one because it's pretty. It really doesn't matter that much though. One that's pretty interesting is this other one down here. This is called Video Card Stability Test. This one is a little bit different in that what it does is when you run the benchmark, if it notices any stuttering at all from your graphics card, it will fail your test for you. And so that's a good indicator. But another one that's also really good is the CPU ID hardware monitor. So that's this one right here. And you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom until you find your graphics card. And in here, there's two fields you really want to look at. Under the GPU, you have your voltages. And then under performance, you have the operational voltage limit. So those are the important things to note. So out of the box, this card came overclocked and I ran the test. And what was happening is I was hitting this operational voltage limit. And that voltage on my card was 1.075 volts. Now it's not the same for everyone. That's not the voltage that's going to be on your card necessarily. So it's all up to your own tests. But that's where I started. I was hitting 1.075 with my operational voltage limit. So it clicked in my head that, well, if I just don't hit that voltage, then I shouldn't have a problem. Because it seems like the problem is I'm just going over that voltage limit. So what I did is I got another tool called MSI Afterburner. So I'll pull that up here. Actually, it closed itself down. So we'll just MSI Afterburner. Okay, so here it is. And in MSI Afterburner, you're going to find this thing called a curve editor. So you bring that up and it looks like this. Now, your curve probably doesn't look like this. Out of the box, it probably looks more like this. And so this is the standard curve for this particular card as it came from the factory. And so the way that I'm fixed my problem is I'm looking at where it says 1.075 volts on the bottom right here. And instead of going there, I'm going to go one to the left at 1050. I'm going to follow this line up until it intersects with a block. When you click on that block, on the left-hand side, you can see the frequency that's associated with that. So then what you can do is you can lower this entire graph, and then you can force everything to taper off at this point. So you can put in a number here. I used negative 250. I probably didn't need to go that far. Honestly, we could probably go like negative, I don't know, negative 50 maybe. Maybe even that would work. Who knows? But you basically just want it to be to where this line here is below that number that you had. So we're going to go minus 75. And then I'm going to grab this. So after I click that, I'm going to hold shift and push up on my keyboard until I get this up to where it says 0. Once I do that, I'm going to click this button over here for apply. This layout might be different for yours. It kind of depends on your system. The point is that what's going to happen is this card will continue to run up until it hits that voltage of 1.5, and then that maxes out at whatever you set this to. In my case, 1995 here. And because it can't go any higher in the frequency, it won't go any higher in the voltage. So I've set that there, I've applied it, and now what you want to do is go back to your benchmarking tool, which is behind here. This fan curve will always be above everything else, so you can put it away somewhere. And then you want to run this again. So it's loading up. Then you want to click this benchmark button up here, and now it's benchmarking. I'm going to put this off to the side. Okay, so that's running, and what you're looking for is just to make sure that you don't hit this operational voltage limit. If you do trip it, then you want to go down another level on that fan curve. You want to go down to 1025, and then do the same thing that we did here. Before you do that, you could also come in here and you can hit this undo button, and that will bring the fan curve back to where it was. Then you go down to the next level down and do the adjustment. Again, it may not be 1025 for you. It depends on your card, but you're just kind of going down one step at a time until when you run this test all the way through, you do not get an operational voltage limit. And then that should fix your stability problems. At least it did for me. So something to note here is that you will lose some performance from doing this, but I lost like less than 5% performance when I did this, so I think it's fine. You know, that's not a very big deal to me. Losing 5%, I can live with that. So yeah, it's just something to think about. But you know, I'll take stability over top performance any day. Anyways, I hope that's helpful. Let me know down in the comments what you think, if this worked for you, if you have a better method. I'd love to hear it. So that's all. Moldylocks out.